Hey everyone, I welcome you all to this session. And in this video, we are going to discuss about creating an Excel report. This Excel report will basically consist of one page only. And in this report, in this particular project video that we are going to discuss, we will specially focus on adding visuals to the report and formatting those visuals as well, right? So that's the thing that we are majorly going to focus on. But before that, this is the sales data that is available to us. Here we have various fields that you can see. Here we have row ID for different rows. Then we have order ID in order to, which is used to identify each order. Then we have order date, the date on which the order was placed. Ship date, the date on which the order was shipped. You can click here on the drop down and you can have a look at all the values. Like for example, here different years are given to us. If let's say for 2018, I'll click here on this plus icon, then it shows that there is only 1 month in this year. We have January. If I'll further click on January, it will give you different dates, the data of different dates that is available to us here, right? Let's say if I'll click on plus icon for 2017, then you can see that this data is available for different months, all the 12 months. If let's say I'll click on Feb, then this will show you the different dates in Feb month from 1st to 28th for which the data is available to us. So you can have a look at the data, and in this entire data that I have considered, there are no null or blank values. Even there is no need to replace any value because this is the clean data that we are considering, because in this project our major focus is to create the visuals and formatting those visuals. So I've considered this type of data, but you can go through each and every column and you can simply click on the drop down and you can see all the different types of values that we have, right? If you'll click here on the customer name, so you can get an idea about the customers. So that's all. Then here we have consumer, corporate, and home office. These are the different segments. Then since the data is available only for United States, so we have only one country, that is United States. We have different cities, people from different cities, and then we have different states. We have postal code for different area, and then we have different regions. You can see these are the 4 regions. Similarly, for the different products that they have purchased, we have different product IDs, and the category to which a particular product belongs to, we have that category as well. Inside that category, we also have the subcategory, and then we have the name of the product that you can see from here. You can go through all the values. You can simply scroll down and have a look at the values, different values that we have. And here we have sales, right, for each order. Then we have quantity sold of the product. We also have discount given to us, and then we have profit. So these are the different values that we have. You can simply scroll down and go and have a look at all the values, because in this case we are having no null or blank values. So we will be using this data to create some visuals. We will basically create an Excel report, and in that report we'll see how you can add different visuals and format them, right? So that's the thing. Also, one thing, like for example, for the range that is available to us that you can see here, you can see that we have this drop down button, right? If I want that this drop down button should not be available, then I can remove it simply using an Excel shortcut, that is Control Shift and L, and these buttons are gone. Now let's say I want these buttons to be there, so I can just simply press Control along with Shift and L. So they are back now, right? And now you can simply go through the different types of values that we have. So you can go through the data, and that's all for this session. We'll meet in the next video and we'll discuss about adding visuals to the report page. We'll meet in the next session. Till then, thank you. Bye-bye. Hey everyone, so I welcome you all to this session, and in this video we will discuss about adding a pivot table, and we will also discuss about how can we represent number of the orders, basically number of the distinct orders that we have on our report, in our report, right? So first of all, I will click here on this plus icon and I'll name this sheet 12 as report, enter, and I'll go back to the data tab And here we have this order ID column. Since I want to represent the number of the orders, so for this purpose, I will be using this order ID column. But the point is that in this order ID column, a given order ID can occur more than once, right? So in order to see the frequency or the number of the times a given order ID occurs in this given particular column, I will use pivot table. So first of all, you can click anywhere on this particular range. Let's click here, and then you can click on the insert tab, this drop down from table/range and new worksheet, and click on OK. And this has added a new sheet that's named sheet 13. Let's name it as pivot 1 and enter. And I'll move this pivot 1 between data and report. I'll keep it here. And now I'll click on this particular table, that is pivot table 15. And since I want to represent the frequency, or I want to know about the number of the times a given order ID occurs, so I will in that order ID column, so I will simply first of all select this order ID column from here, and I'll drop it here in the rows section. And similarly, I'll drag this order ID column again, and I'll drop it in the values section. Here you can see that it shows you the count of the order ID. All right, so you can see that there are some order IDs which occur more than once in the order ID column, which is clearly evident from here. This particular order ID occurs twice. This order ID occurs 4 times. This also occurs 4 times, and this occurs 3 times, and so on. So this can happen. Why? Because in a given order that is represented by a given order ID, multiple products could have been ordered. And since a given customer can order multiple products in a given order, that's why you can see that a given order ID can occur more than once in the order ID column. So that's fine. There is nothing wrong in it. And we will check this particular thing. So we will select any order ID which is having the count of the order ID more than one. So, and we will check for that particular order ID that what were the products that were ordered, and we will see all those records basically. So first of all, let's pick this order ID. I'll copy it, Control C, and we'll go back to the data view. Click here on this drop down button and search, paste the order ID that we have copied, that is Control V, uncheck this box and select this particular box, click on OK. So now you can see that this particular order ID occurs twice. The customer is same, customer ID is same, ship mode is same, ship date is same, order date is same, everything is same. In fact, the segment is same, country is same, city is same, and your state also same. Postal code and region, everything is same, but the product ID is different. Why? Because different products were ordered in a given order ID, in a given order. That's why. Category is different, subcategory is also different, and the product is also different. You can see the name of the product. And accordingly, we have sales value, then we have quantity, we have discount, and we have profits. So it simply means that this is the reason that since a given customer can order multiple products in a given order, that's why a given order ID can occur more than once in the order ID column. This row ID column is simply added to distinguish between any two given rows. So even in fact, if you want to remove this row, you can do that. But anyways, we'll not do that. Let's keep it here only. And here we are interested in knowing about the distinct number of order IDs. Basically, that will give us an idea of, that will basically give us the count of the total number of the orders that we have in our data set. So I will simply click here on this filter button. Then I will click on clear filter from order ID. And this brings us back to the normal state. And I will now open the pivot 1 tab. So this is the frequency that you can see for different order IDs. I'll again go back to the data view and I will copy this particular column. So I will click on order ID, shift control down arrow key and select this part. So Control C, copy it, and let's paste this part here. Control V, right? Now from the part that we have brought here in our pivot 1, this pivot 1 tab, I want to remove the duplicates, because once we remove the duplicates, then we will find out the count of the order IDs, right? That's all that we're going to do. So having this particular order ID selected, I'll click on the data tab, and here we have remove duplicates, select all, column E. Okay. So 4,985 duplicate values found and removed. 5,010 unique values remain. Note that counts may include empty cell spaces, but we were not having any null values, blank values. We already discussed about it in our dataset. So that's fine. And I will simply click on OK. So now for this particular selection, we will add a pivot table, and then we will find out the count using that table. So having this particular part selected, I'll click on insert, this drop down from table/range. In the same existing worksheet, I want to add a pivot table. So this is the range selected that we have already mentioned. And let's select this particular cell and in the location, and now click on OK. So for this pivot table 16, I will simply click here on this table, and I'll drag this order ID and we'll drop it here in the values section. So this now tells you that the total number of the orders that we have are equal to 5,009. If you want to rename this column, that is count of order ID, you can simply double click on it. And from here, you can change it to number of the orders, or you can simply write number of orders and simply click on OK. So that's the thing. Now let's click on the report tab. Here we are going to create the report. And first of all, I do not want the grid lines to be there on my report page. So I'll simply click on the view tab, and I'll simply uncheck this box that is grid lines. So grid lines are gone now. And I want to give this report a title. Along with it, I also want to add a background color. So I will first of all select this part. Let's select this much part. You can select for the heading, you can select this part according to your convenience. I've selected this much part. Click on home, merge and center, and having this part selected, you can choose any suitable color of your choice from here. Let's choose this color. And now you can simply double click and give some name to this report. So let's write sales report, Control A. Let's keep it bold. Let's keep it black. Let's increase the size and let's keep it, let's say 48, right? So that's it. And now we want to represent the count of the orders on this particular page. So I'll simply click on pivot 1, and I will select this much part, Control C, and I'll click on report, and let's say let's paste it here. So Control V. You can resize it. So this shows you the number of the orders. Maybe you want to have a border around this much part. So you can select this part. And then from here, you can select thick outside border. So this now shows the number of the orders that we have in our data set. You can in fact change the format of the font that we have. Sorry, go back to the report. I'll click here. And you can simply click on bold if you want to keep it bold and black. So that's it. So that's all for this session. We'll meet in the next video. We'll discuss about adding more visuals to this report page. And in this entire project, we will majorly focus on creating some visuals and then formatting those visuals and adding those visuals to this report, right? So we'll meet in the next session. Till then, thank you. Bye-bye. Hey everyone, welcome back. And in this video, we will discuss about adding a column chart to this report. And in that column chart, we will represent the total sales or the sales by different shipping modes, right? But before that, a sheet 14, a tab was added having the name sheet 14. Basically a worksheet was added. So you can just remove it, right click on that sheet and simply delete it. I'm not having it here because I've already deleted it, but you can delete it in that way. Like it was added in the previous video, right? And now I want to add one more visual to this particular report. So for that, I'll be creating a pivot table and I will be summarizing the data. So for that, I will first of all go back to the data tab. I'll open this worksheet and I can click anywhere on this particular sheet. Let's click here and then simply click on insert and then pivot table from table/range and click on OK. Right. So first of all, I'll rename this sheet 16 as, let's name it as pivot 2, enter. And on this pivot table, I will represent the sales by shipping mode or ship mode. So first of all, we have this ship mode. I will simply drag this ship mode and will drop it here in the rows section. And since I want to represent the sales for different shipping modes, so I will drag the sales column and will drop it here in the values section. So now you can see that the values have been summarized, and you can see that for first class we have this much sales, for same day this much, for second class and standard class. So these are the different shipping modes that are available, and sales is now being represented through this pivot table on this particular worksheet. So you can click here on this pivot table and then simply click on pivot table analyze and then click on pivot chart. So this will add a chart for you, and I am interested in adding a column chart in this case. So I will simply click on column. I'll select this chart and click on OK. Now this is the chart that we have, and for this column chart, now it is required to format this chart, right? So we'll format it accordingly. I do not want these buttons to be present here, so I can simply click here on any one of the buttons and then I'll click on hide all field buttons on the chart, so they're gone now. I do not want the horizontal grid lines to be present here on this chart, so I'll simply click on the plus icon and I will uncheck this box. Now, since I don't want this total also to be written here, so I will uncheck this box that is legend. And since I want the values to be represented on these bars or columns as the data labels, I basically want the data labels to be present there. So I will check this box, data labels. And since the data labels have been represented on the bars, as you can see, the values are visible on the bars. So it is not required to represent these values along the vertical axis. So in this axis section, I will remove primary vertical. So it looks comparatively better now. Also, along this horizontal axis that we have, where the names of the ship mode or shipping mode are written, I don't want this thin gray line to be there. So I will click here on any one of the shipping modes and this part will be selected. I'll right click and from this outline, I will select no outline. So this is gone now. And then again, I'll click here on this chart. I want to give it some suitable title. So I will click here on this total, double click on this total that is written at the top. And since here we are representing the sales by ship mode or shipping mode, so I will simply give it a name that is sales by shipping mode. And since I want to change the formatting for this font that we have, double click and select it, select this much part and home tab. Let's keep it bold. Let's keep it black. Let's keep it italic and underlined as well. Now for the data labels as well, I want to change the format. So I want the data label to have same formatting as that of the chart title. So first of all, I'll click on the chart title. Then I'll click here on format painter. Then I'll simply click here on any one of the data label. And that's how the value can be changed. But I want to reduce the size, so we can reduce the size as well. That's not the problem. I think I'll keep it maybe 10 or maybe even 9. So we can keep it 10. And obviously, certainly we do not want it to be underlined. So we can remove that underline and maybe we can remove this italic as well. Rest, it looks fine. Now for the values or the names of the shipping modes written along the horizontal axis, I want the formatting to be same as that of, let's say, the title. So I will simply click here on the title, format painter, and then click on any one of them. Certainly I do not want the underline here. I'll remove it. I do not want the font to be italic. We'll remove it and we'll further reduce the size. I think 10.5 is fine. Yes, so it looks better now. And we can also sort these columns in the descending order of the sales values. So I can right click on any one of the bars, sort, and sort largest to smallest. It looks comparatively better now. I'll simply select this chart, Control C, and I'll now click on the report page and let's paste it here. Let's say we want to paste it here. So you can just simply press Control V. So your chart is available on this particular page now, right? You can keep it anywhere according to your convenience. Let's keep it here only. You can further resize it if you want to, else it's fine. No, I think that's fine. And if you want to change the color of the bars, you can do that as well. Simply click here on this chart, then design, and from here you can change the colors. If you want to keep it green, let's choose green, or you can choose some other color that you like. And in this manner, you can create a column chart in which we have represented the sales by shipping mode. So we'll meet in the next session. We'll add more visuals to this report. Till then, thank you. Bye-bye. Hey everyone, welcome back. And in this video, we will discuss about adding one more visual to this report. And in this in that particular visual, we will try to represent, we will basically represent the profit by the year and quarter, right? Year/quarter basically. So the column, date column that we will use is basically the order date column, and we want to represent the profit by year basically and by quarter as well, right? And the column that is to be used is the order date column for date, right? So first of all, I will move this pivot to worksheet between, I'll drag and keep it here between pivot 1 and report. That's fine. And for creating a new chart, I will require one more pivot table. So I will click anywhere on this particular chart, and then I'll click on insert, drop down from table/range. This portion will be selected. It will show you this part here, new worksheet. Okay. And I'll click here on the pivot table. Now I want to represent the profit. Basically, we want to represent the profit. So we have this field named profit, and I will drag and drop it here in the values section. And we want to represent the profit for different years and different quarters, right? So I'll simply drag this order date column and we'll drop it here in the rows section. Now this is a pivot table that has been created. If I'll click, let's say, if I'll click on 2014 plus icon, then you can see that different quarters are there. And if I'll click on any given quarter, you can see that different months for that particular quarter are there. And profit is obviously being represented according to those different months. If I'll click on any given month, for all the different dates, the profit values are given, right? So that's the thing. But here on the chart that we want to make, we are interested in representing the profits only according to the years and quarters. We do not want month and dates. So what I'll do, from this particular row section, I will drag this months field outside of the row section. And similarly, I'll drag this order date field outside of the row section and will drop it here on the worksheet. And now you can see that the data is being represented for year and there are quarters inside that year. That's it. You can click on the plus icon for any other year and you'll see that the data is available as per the year and the quarters inside that year. That's it. So now I'll simply click here on this pivot table, and now I'll click on pivot table analyze, then I'll click on pivot chart. And now in this case, I'm interested in adding a bar chart. So I will simply select a bar chart and I'll click on OK. So this is a bar chart that we have created. Now we do not want this button. So right click, hide value field button on chart. Remove this as well. That's it. and we want this button to be there because we will use it. I'll tell you how to use it and how we'll use it, and I'll just simply select this chart. Now we will format this chart as per our needs and requirement. I do not want this legends to be there, so I'll click on the plus icon and I'll uncheck this box. I do not want the grid lines to be there, so I'll uncheck this grid lines box as well. I do not want the values to be represented along the horizontal axis because we will be representing the values through data labels. So first of all, let's check this data labels box. And since the value is already visible here, so it is not required to represent the values along the horizontal axis. So I will simply uncheck this primary horizontal box, right? So it looks comparatively better now. And along the values which are being represented along the vertical axis, I do not want this thin colored gray line to be here. So I'll simply right click on this part. I'll select this part. I'll right click on it. And from this outline, I will select no outline. I hope it's gone now. Yes, it's gone. Okay. All right. And for the values that we have represented on this chart, all right, we can move this portion. We can keep it here. All right. And for this title, we can keep it, let's keep it here itself. In place of total, we can keep it here as well, right? As per our convenience. So for this particular chart, I want to give a title where I want to write the profit by, we are representing profit by year / quarter. So this is the title that we can give, and we can place it here, and I'll double click on it. I'll select it, bold. Let's keep it bold. Let's keep it black, and you can use an underline as well. And I think it's look fine now. And we can also change the formatting for the numbers that we have used. You can move it a bit here. All right. And now let's say we want to change the formatting for the years that we have represented along the vertical axis. So you can just simply click here on the year. Let's keep it black and bold. You can reduce the size if you want to. Let's keep it 8. Similarly, I want the data labels to have same formatting as that of the years written along the vertical axis. So I'll simply click here on the values written along the vertical axis, format painter, and simply click on any one of the data labels, and the formatting will change accordingly. And let's say we are interested in changing the color for the bar chart that we have used. So I'll simply click here on this bar chart, design, and I can change the color from here. So let's keep it yellow. That's fine. And this chart now represents, as of now, if you will see the chart, this now represents the profit by year. But if I want to know about the profit by quarter, I'll simply click on the plus icon, and now it shows the value of the profit by different quarters for different years, in fact, right? So this plus icon will help you to further drill down. And if I'll click on the minus icon, it will bring you back to the original view, or the view where the profit is being represented according to different years, right? So that this is also one of the charts that we are going to use in our report. Now I will simply click here on this chart, Control C, click on the report worksheet, and let's paste it here, Control V, right? So I think it looks comparatively better now. And here we have these two charts, and also we have represented the number of the orders. We will be adding more charts to this report page. So we'll meet in the next session to discuss about the same. Till then, thank you. Bye-bye. Hey everyone, welcome back. So in this video, we will discuss about adding a scatter plot to this sales report. And before that, I would like to change the name of this particular worksheet, that is sheet 17, and I'll rename it as pivot 3, enter, and I'll move this particular sheet and we'll keep it between pivot 2 and report. All right. Now, since we are interested in adding a scatter plot, and in that scatter plot, I'm not interested in summarizing the data, right? We will basically pick each and every point. We will treat it as as a x coordinate and a y coordinate of a point. Maybe like we plot the different points on the Cartesian plane, right? That you must have studied when you must be in grades 9 or 10. You must have studied about that. So we will be using individual points, and we will use sales and profit column, and we will not be summarizing the data, right? We will simply use the unsummarized data. We will consider all the points and we will represent them on a scatter plot. And a scatter plot is basically recommended to be used when you want to know about the relationship between two numerical quantities, right? So that's all that we are going to do. First of all, I will add a new sheet. So I will click here on this plus icon, and this is named sheet 18. Although we will not be inserting a pivot table, but I'm just naming it as pivot 4. But I'll not be adding a pivot table here. I'm just naming it like this, and simply press enter. And I'll simply drag and keep it here between pivot 3 and report 4. And now I will go back to the data worksheet, and here we have two columns in the end, the very first being sales column and the second one being profit column. So first of all, click here on the cell R1, basically where sales is written. Press shift and control down arrow key, control C, copy this much part, come back to pivot 4, click here, first cell, control V, go back to the data worksheet. Similarly, click here, then control up arrow key. It will bring you to the first row, and simply click here on the cell where profit is written, shift control down arrow key, control C, and now click on pivot 4, click here on B1, control V. So these are the values that we are going to use, right? And here I want to add a chart, basically a scatter plot, and through that scatter plot we will represent these values. So I will simply click here anywhere on these two columns, and then I'll click on insert, and then from this chart section I will select this scatter plot, and you can see that the values are being represented for sales and profit, right? You can see, since in the profit column, as you can see, we have negative values, right? So you can see that there are some values which lie below the y-axis. It means along the vertical axis or along the y-axis, you can say the profit has been represented, right? While sales, since it is having only positive values, and as is very evident from the chart, so sales is represented along the horizontal axis. If you want to know about negative values and positive values both are present in the profit column or not, although it is visible from here, but you can just simply click here on any of these cells where the values of the profit or sales columns are represented, then simply press Ctrl Shift L, and now you can see that this drop down appears. If I'll click here on this drop down, you can see that negative values are there in the sales column, right? We have negative, positive, both type of values in the profit column, in the profit column, while in the sales column we only have positive values. There are no negative values. So the chart that has been inserted or created in it, the sales value is being represented along the horizontal axis because we have only positive values being represented along the horizontal axis, and sales is having the positive values, while profit is represented along the vertical axis or the y-axis, you can say in this case. And this chart tells you that we have maximum data points in our data set, in our data, which are having the value of sales between 0 to 5,000, right? And the value of the profit is although varying. It is having positive values and negative values both, but sales is having positive values, obviously it should have, and the profit is having negative and positive both type of values. Profit is negative, it represents loss, right? And you can also see that there are some points for which if the value of the sales has increased, profit has also increased, right? And there are some outliers as well. So that's the point. Now I want to add this particular scatter plot to the report. But before that, obviously we will format it. So first of all, I will simply click here on this visual, and then I will click on chart design, and from here you can change the colors. So this time I'll be adding or selecting gray color. You can choose any other color of your choice. And in this case, I do not want to remove the grid lines because I think grid lines should be there. It makes it easier to interpret and understand. Like for example, when it's the case with the Cartesian plane that we create. So we have different X and Y coordinates and then we plot different points, right? So the grid lines will make it easier for you to understand in case you have different points, when obviously you have different points which are being represented on the scatter plot. So that's why I'm not removing the grid lines. You can if you want to. And since I want to change the format of the numbers which are being represented along the horizontal and vertical axis, so I can do that as well. I'll simply click on numbers and home tab. Let's keep it bold, let's keep it black. Similarly, I want the numbers along the vertical axis to have same formatting as that of the numbers represented along the horizontal axis. So I'll select the numbers written along the horizontal axis. I'll simply click on any one of the numbers, format painter, and then simply click here on the numbers along the vertical axis. And this is the chart that we have. And we can change the title, chart title as well. So I'll just simply double click here on the profit, and I'll rename it as, let's rename it as profit versus sales. Versus sales. Oh, I've written profit, change the spelling, no problem. Profit versus sales. And we can further keep it bold, we can keep it black, and we can keep it underlined and italic as well. So this represents the profit versus sales, but I think we should also make it clear that profit is being represented along the vertical axis. So I'll click on the plus icon and we can have axis titles. I'll check this box, and along the horizontal axis, I will write sales and Control A. Home tab, let's keep it bold, black. Similarly here along the vertical axis, Control A, and I'll write profit. And since I want this profit to have same formatting as that of this axis title along the horizontal axis, so I'll click on sales, home, format painter, and then I'll click on profit. So I think it looks better now. I'll simply click here on this scatter plot, Control C, and I'll click on the report, and then let's paste it here, Control V. So that's how this scatter plot is representing the different values for profit and sales, right? So I think we can further resize it if you want to. All right, and resize this as well. All right, or maybe we can keep it here. You can keep the visuals on this particular report anywhere according to your convenience. That's not the problem, and you can resize them as well as per your need and convenience. Right, if I'll further minimize it, so it looks something like this. All right, fine. Okay, so this is how we have created this report, and we will be adding one more visual to this report. So we'll meet in the next session. Till then, thank you. Bye-bye. Hey everyone, welcome back. So in this video, we will add one more and last visual to this report. And that in that visual, we will represent the profit and quantity by region, right? So first of all, I will click here on the worksheet named data, and then I will click here anywhere. All right. Okay, that's fine. So I will simply click anywhere here on on the range that we have, and then I'll simply click on insert pivot table from range slash table and new worksheet and okay. And I will rename this sheet 19 as, let's say, pivot 5 and enter. Now first of all, I'll move it and keep it here between pivot 4 and report. And on this pivot 5 sheet, I want to represent the profit and quantity by different regions that we have in our data set. So I will firstly click here on this pivot table. Then I will simply select profit. We have profit field, yes, and I will drag it and drop it here in values section. Similarly, I will drag this quantity field and will drag and then drop it here in values section. And then I want the region column. So this is the column that we have. I'll simply drag and drop it here in rows section. So we have the profits for each region, and then we have the quantity sold for each of these regions, right, in this pivot. So I will simply click here on this table. Then I will click on pivot chart, and this time we will be adding a combo chart. So I'll click on the combo chart, and here we want to represent the profit. Let's keep it clustered column only, and we want to represent the quantity using a line chart, and we want to keep a secondary axis here. So I think it looks better now, and you can maybe select for line chart, yes, or maybe you can select this. So all right, so it looks better, and I'll simply click on OK. Right. And since we do not want any field buttons to be there on the chart, so I'll simply select hide all field buttons after right clicking, and then you can remove the legends as well if you want to. So I'll simply click on the plus icon and I'll remove the legends, and I'll remove the grid lines as well, right? And if you want the data labels to be there, you can simply select the data labels as well, right? And or let's say in this particular chart, we do not want the data labels. Let's let the values be represented along both the axes. That's not the problem. And we can add a chart title, and here we can simply write, since we are representing the profit and quantity by region, profit and quantity by region. So you can give this chart a particular title, select this text, keep it bold, black, italic, and underlined, right? And if you want to change the formatting of the numbers written along the vertical axis, you can do that as well. Click here on the number, on any one of the numbers, home, keep it bold, black, and similarly for the numbers written here as well, we can keep them black and bold. And if you want to remove this thin gray line, so you can just simply click here on any one of the regions, right click, outline, no outline, and then simply click here on any one of the regions, bold and black. All right, so this is how different values can be represented. You can also change the chart style if you want to. Let's say if we want to keep this particular chart style, so you can have that particular chart style as well, of your choice, whatever you want to. If let's say I select this particular chart style, so the format will change for the numbers. That's fine, we'll change it again, no problem. Let's keep it this only, and this time we'll be using the format painter option, so that's fine, no problem. I can just simply select this chart, Control C, and I'll click here on the report. let's say if I'm interested in keeping it here, simply select this particular cell, Control V, and you can now resize it. And you can change the format for the title from here. So let's say select this, Format Painter, and click here. And for these numbers as well, we can change the formatting. Click here on these numbers. In the scatter plot, Format Painter, click on these numbers, Format Painter, click on these numbers, Format Painter, and click on the region. And since you do not want the grid lines in this chart, so plus icon and remove the grid lines. All right. So that's how these values can be represented. And I hope this entire project video was helpful. Also, one more thing, if you want to remove this thin line along the horizontal y-axis, so simply right click, outline, and no fill. All right. Yes. This looks better now. All right, so that's fine. And yes, one more thing, if in place of this combo chart, if you want to add some other chart, so you can do that as well. You can simply click here on this chart, click on design, and you can change the chart from here, change chart type, and you can do this for any other chart, right, as well. And here you can see that we have represented the quantity. The value for the quantity is basically being represented along this secondary y-axis, and the value for profit is being represented along the horizontal y-axis. Columns represent the value for the profit, while this line chart is being used to represent the values for your quantity, right? So that's the point. And I think we will also require legends in this case, because we should represent that the line is representing the quantity, right? So we can just simply click here on the plus icon. We can add the legends, no problem. And for the legends part, we can change the name as well. So I'll just simply click here on this part, then on this legend, and then I'll simply click on sum of profit, value field settings, and I can rename it as, let's say, profit. And for this part, quantity, value field settings, quantity, you can give a space and then click on OK, right? And we can now place it, let's say here at the top, maybe, right? Yes, so you can place it at any suitable place according to your convenience. That's not the problem. All right. So this is how we have added different charts on our report, in our report. And in this manner, you can create an Excel report and you can create different visuals and add these different visuals to your report, right? So I hope this video was helpful. I will be uploading one more project video in which I will discuss about adding filters as well. And we will discuss about Power Query as well in Excel in the upcoming videos. And I'll be uploading other projects as well, which are going to be on different data sets. So we'll discuss about the same. So stay tuned for quality content on my channel. We'll meet